Hello and welcome back to the Server Alley, where you get an inside look at what really goes on behind the scenes in the restaurant industry. I'm your host, Lindsey DiStefano.
I'm Aine McGonigle.
I'm Kevin Murphy.
And we have a very special guest, my friend Josh Polonsky. Say hello.
That is myself. I am Josh Polonsky.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
And Josh and I worked together for a while at the Firebirds Wood Fire Grill, bringing him on to talk about his experience working as a line cook. So, Josh, you want to tell us how long you've been working in the kitchen industry? Name a few places you've worked.
For sure. I have been doing this for about, I should have done this math in my head before this started, about 7 years.
7 years?
Believe, if my math in my head's correct, yeah.
Yeah, 7 years. That's legit.
That's
legit.
It's all right. I started at like a independent-owned sandwich and pizza shop in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Went from there to the corporate steakhouse where I met my good friend over there. I worked at a hotel in Yellowstone, and I work at a brewery and restaurant currently.
Nice.
Yeah. As we go on, I do want to hear about Yellowstone, 'cause that's insane.
Absolutely. Oh, that was something. That was
like Yellowstone.
So cool.
Like I'm used to working in like a mall area. You're like
Yeah,
you're working.
I'm used to like the Montgomery Mall.
Yeah,
sort of
like
deal,
my
so.
when I look out the window, it's like a parking lot, not
Yeah.
like mountains. So yeah.
And bison or whatever.
Or yeah, where was that? I
all
don't know.
types of stuff out there.
Yeah, what do they have in Yellowstone? We'll get back. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As we
Um,
go.
And then let's just talk about what made you want to get into like working in the restaurant industry as a cook?
Well, I was always into cooking, I guess, if I look at like my life. And then I had to, got to go to college for something.
Yeah.
Kind of thought, why not? I was working at a restaurant for my last 2 years of high school. Seemed like an all right gig.
Yeah.
I always thought like an office job just sounded miserable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Use your hands for
Yeah,
instead
stand
of
up
like
all
writing.
day.
Yeah, instead
Get
of just
to,
sitting
yeah.
around.
yeah,
Great time.
get to feed people. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like you're actually like
moving.
making something.
Yeah, I get to see. You get to see a whole day's work on the plate.
Yeah.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
very like you see what you've done. It's like you took all raw tomato and you made it into something else.
You
And,
see
like,
your labor as something.
it's
that
that you
can be
get the
shown.
fruits of your labor, if you will.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you
Could
do.
spend your whole day, literally just working on one single plate if you
Yeah.
wanted to. It's
Mhm.
I think it's satisfying,
Yeah,
at least.
that's why I found it was very extremely satisfying.
No.
Did you work, like when you were in high school, so you said you started in high school, what did you start as in high school?
A dishwasher,
Oh, okay.
as I think
speak
it's.
I'm sorry.
I
just-
started working as a dishwasher. I'm sorry. I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then
And then you
do you want to fry
transitioned to-
shifts and do you want to learn all of like the line and stuff and
Wow.
you
I
do?
think I feel like everyone starts as like a dishwasher when they like. They're like 15 or 16 in high
Dishwasher,
school. It's like
busser.
right, busser,
Yeah.
dishwasher.
It almost feels kind of like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta do that first before
Yeah.
you can like,
Yeah.
move
Go on
up.
to the
Not even
yeah.
move up, just move to the next thing.
Yeah.
Just
How long were you just dishwashing before they allowed you to move on?
It's not like I remember all the exact dates.
Right, yeah,
For
I'm
certain.
not
April
expecting
21st.
Yeah.
No, what day
but-
did you move up?
Oh.
What day did you start? What day did you get promoted?
Like I said, I think about a year and it was a year and a half or 2 years of
Really?
of just it
Just
was-
dishwashing?
I mean, it
Dishwashing's
paid.
hard.
Yeah, definitely some long nights in there, but
Mhm. It can be satisfying though, definitely.
kind
Maybe
of
not.
just,
You don't think so?
myself personally, just kind of type of person, put headphones in, just
Yeah.
all right,
It is what
tune
it
out
is.
for
Yeah.
7.5 hours, try to get out of here at a good time. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause
I'd
you have
say-
to stay there until the entire kitchen.
Yeah,
is
the
clean.
You have to
dishwasher
do all the
is
dishes,
kind of
yeah.
the last you're waiting on the dishwasher to leave,
Usually the
basically.
last
Basically, yeah.
person to like
Yeah.
walk out.
And
Yeah.
it's always, I remember like at Firebirds, it would be
Yeah.
nights where there is no dishwasher. There's one guy, and you're like, I can't actually finish my job until you wash this stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna help you wash it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like a party in the dish pit. Everybody just working together.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I remember doing it was we usually never. I feel like a lot of restaurants take for granted having a dishwasher. So then when they don't have one, which is like a lot of shifts, then it's like, oh yeah, everyone just fill in dishwasher, and it's like
Nobody's actually
gonna do that. So
Oh my
it
gosh.
ends up being the end of the night, and it's like, oh, we have 2 hours of dishes to do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that was always fun, but it kind of teaches you like right away, like if you want to work in this industry, it's you got
It's work.
Yeah.
it's work. Yeah,
It's not.
It's work.
It's not like retail where you just fold a shirt.
Yeah.
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 No,
yeah.
and for like service to go well, like the dishes have to be cleaned
Mhm.
on a
Yeah.
consistent basis because the food can't go out if they don't have a plate.
Right. That's another. I remember having that issue a lot
Forks
too.
and
Yes.
knives,
No
like you
plates.
can't eat
Yeah.
unless you have knives
Mhm.
and forks and that kind of stuff.
No,
So
and especially when you get to like some restaurants will everything certain items go on certain plates and you have to have their certain plate to sell this and certain plate to sell that, and it's like
Yeah.
the dishwasher needs to stay on top of it to make sure you
Yeah,
have all
Yeah.
that
for
stuff
sure.
ready.
It's I was gonna say it's definitely not like the most glamorous job, but you could argue it's maybe the most important job.
Yeah,
Yes, for
definitely.
sure.
It's if like one of the most important
It's like
jobs.
the
No plates, no
mitochondria.
food. It's
Yeah,
it's the
I mean,
powerhouse
it's
of the
the
power.
It's the powerhouse of the kitchen. Yeah.
I had
Exactly.
to think about that for a second.
I like that,
I'm
yeah.
not good at science.
It's the mitochondria.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
The nucleus.
No, I'm the,
The nuc-
nucleus.
Yeah.
No, the chef is the
The
nucleus.
nucleus. Yeah.
Yeah.
so
In the
Old G
kitchen, do you call
apparatus.
each other like different parts of the cell?
No, this
No.
Is
is
this like-
an
is this-
entire.
is
this
Yeah.
is
Is this
No.
chef lingo that I don't know?
no,
Yeah.
but that is a thing. There's a lot of like language of the kitchen.
Yeah.
That
Oh
you
my
kind
gosh,
of get
yes.
to,
Lots
get
of
to
You
learn.
learn it.
jargon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like anybody have any examples?
I can't.
There's
Ah.
the herd, which is like
Fire
Yeah,
ticket.
on
Mhm.
order.
I wasn't really cool enough, I guess. To, like,
Oh.
I was kind of just like, I was like, yeah, sure, like kinds of food.
there's like we talked about dead food last time, and then there's like
Lots of
tickets
that.
are like the receipts for what you have to make.
Yeah. Do you do
Reggae.
restaurants even have tickets anymore? I feel like now it's all digital.
It depends.
It
some
depends on the
some-
restaurant.
some restaurants.
Do you work anywhere with like a ticket now, or is it like?
So- Myself, everywhere I have worked has had tickets, except for where I work right now. We actually have a screen.
Yeah.
I feel like
Which
I don't know, I
it
feel like
depends.
I don't
Yeah.
see tickets that much, but
There are some in like diners will do like where
Yeah.
the waitress like actually writes down
Yeah.
what, and then
Mm.
they hand that to the chef
yeah.
Yeah.
or the cook. And I think there's some like chains that do that too. I think, but
Yeah, I just remember jamming that button, being
Yeah.
like moving along, like let's
yeah.
let's
So
get
you
this.
had a screen.
Yeah, like let's get
I know,
it
like
was.
Panera had screens, Miller's Ale House had screens.
I feel like most chains have screens because it's like standard for the company, but like if you're at like a non-chain, you kind of
Yeah.
are like,
and it poses different problems, like because you can literally lose a ticket, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just never
Yeah.
gets made.
No, that's awful. As a server, so I've worked as a server for a long time, and losing a ticket is probably like my worst nightmare. Having like like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff happen, because then like it depends on like what area of the restaurant I'm in. It depends on how busy I am. If I'm really busy, then like I'm gonna forget that like, they lost the ticket because like I
Right.
do the drinks and I refill the drinks and that kind of stuff, and then I depend on the kitchen to get the
Right.
food to them.
Yeah.
And losing a ticket's my
Yeah.
worst nightmare.
You gotta go
Yeah.
Because
back.
it honestly it messes up the entire shift too.
It
When
does.
you lose a ticket or the ticket machine like jams and you run out of paper,
Oh my god.
or the POS system has a problem, like just like all the logistic stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like honestly like writing it down on a piece of paper and giving it to them is probably the most efficient to make sure like everything's done. But also as a server, it's like I need to have nice handwriting, and
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep my sheets, so I like make sure I have everything put into the POS system and I charge them for everything because I want to get
Gotta
that-
get that moolah.
get the money up there and
indeed.
make that money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we talked about how I don't know if we actually hit on it specifically. You went to culinary school here at Montco.
You're
I
at Montco.
did.
Didn't finish,
Yeah.
but that's
Montco
all
did-
right. It doesn't.
Learned some value.
You
learned
what
lots
you-
of cool
learned
things
what you needed
either
to.
way. Yeah.
So do you think that was necessary? Do you think that actually helped you set you up for success? Do you think it's practical?
I would say it definitely helped in setting me up, even without finishing. It's not like I learned nothing while I went here. I was closer to done, unfortunately, than not done when I decided to not finish all that. But you definitely learn a lot of good stuff. I maybe made the mistake of doing all like the interesting classes first, and then saving all the more boring gen ed stuff for
math and
like
science. Yeah.
English composition
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
all that.
English Comp
Yeah.
1 and 2, I'm very familiar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great time.
Yeah. Was it ultimately necessary? Maybe not. I will say a lot of, at least in my experience, interviews and stuff, if you have a good attitude and good experience, they're more often than not willing to give you a shot.
I think that's definitely
So like, would
fair.
they, if you're in an interview after, would they be like, would they ask you if you went to culinary school? Like, does that even get asked? Like,
They ask usually. I always give them the honest answer. Like I went,
Yeah.
didn't finish, but I
finish.
went, and
You think that like it has an effect on?
I'd say it maybe has an influence.
Yeah.
Gives them like maybe a bit of a better push for myself to get
Yeah.
hired, but
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, it's like any school, but I feel like it's kind of like film school where you always hear directors. They're always like, oh, like yeah, I never went to film school, and it's like I learned some stuff. I learned it on my own. I feel like cooking is sort of similar, where like you really can. I mean, there's definitely a craft to it, but you can you can really also learn a lot on your own. It's,
Yeah, I feel like you learn off of experiences too,
yeah,
like
experience,
working. Because like
absolutely
in culinary school, are you getting like you're not getting like the situational stuff,
Right.
not really. No, very very little.
and then like are you like learning like the basics of how to like make like a certain
Yeah, do you want to talk
dish
about like
and that
kind
kinda
of
stuff?
specifically what you
Yeah,
learned?
for sure, absolutely. So you start with like a serve safe course, like food safety and everything. They get that out the way first, and then it's kind of just progressively like first you start with the basics, meat and potatoes type stuff, very basic and simple. This is how to do this, right? And then as it progresses over the course of about a year or however long you might be there, it kind of picks up. You go to like international cuisines, different regions of America even. There is, for like a little bit of experience, they do a mock restaurant. At least when I was there, they did. So they'd have like lunch for 3 hours a day, and we'd have actual people walk in, and it was never stressful by any means.
Right.
It was like a little room that sits
There's
like
no, like,
Like
Gordon
when
Ramsay.
cooking mama,
Yeah.
a little bit of a video game sort of
Yeah.
vibe.
it,
You're not getting yelled at by Gordon Ramsay to like.
no,
finish
not at
them,
all.
you know?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Would you ever go on a reality show like that?
You know, I've thought about it.
Like, that would be
I
really
think it'd be
cool.
kind of fun. I'm not
Why
gonna
not?
lie.
Yeah.
Honestly, it'd be really cool.
I think it'd be kind of cool as well. I think they just had a season of like Hell's Kitchen with like
They did.
younger people.
They did,
I
yeah.
just missed it. Darn.
No, and the restaurant that like they got to be like the head chef at is in Atlantic City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You just missed it.
That actually would have been
Well,
kind
there's
of cool.
plenty of
Dang.
cooking shows you can go on.
Yeah.
You got to
Plenty.
start getting your name out there. Start
I know, yeah,
putting in
start-
applications.
Making video applications
Yeah,
for
we'll send
reality
them this.
TV.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
that. Got you.
I actually know someone that went on a cooking show.
Really?
Yeah, she went on Beat Bobby Flay. Then she was on Chopped.
That's
she
so
was
cool.
on. She's on that new, like the new Food Network one where it's like, I think Guy Fieri. Guy
Fieri.
Fieri or Fieri,
Fieri.
whatever. I
Guy
can't.
Fieri.
Fieri, whatever.
the
No,
mayor
I
of
think
flavor
you
town.
said it like, oh, it's Fieri. I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
might be Fieri.
Nah, I don't
No, but she was on his show, The Guy's
be a lie.
Grocery Games.
Oh, that one's fun. That's where you like have to like
That one
run around
seems
and
like
that one
shoot.
looks
honestly,
fun.
that one would probably be the one. Like if I was, a
That's
chef,
kinda-
like I'd go on that one.
sometimes if I'm like having a bad day, a little nervous, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the grocery store and I'm gonna walk around
Wow, that's
because it just makes me
Interesting.
happy. I don't
The
know.
grocery store.
It's the grocery store.
consumerism. Just
No, I
makes-
don't
yeah.
like even necessarily
Yeah, it's
necessarily
vibe.
buy anything. It's just like I just like walking around in the grocery store.
Sues
I
you.
can't go
Yeah.
hungry. If I like go grocery
No,
shopping
dude.
hungry, then I'm literally gonna spend like $200, $300
Dude,
on like myself.
Yeah, no, it's messed up. Yeah.
I
if
started
you-
ordering groceries now to save money.
Oh, like get him delivered. Or,
Well, like I would
Insta-
go to,
Instacarted?
I do it at Wegmans. I would go to Wegmans. I would like
Yeah,
go
we
on the
get-
app and
we
put
get-
it in,
We get delivered.
and then like you
Yeah.
figure out like what recipes you want for the week and that kind of stuff, and you put it
Oh,
in,
that's cute.
and they
Yeah.
deliver it to your car. So then I'm not like spending like a lot
Right.
of money.
You're planning it out. That's good. Is there anything that you think that you like working as a cook? Is there anything that you learned that you did not learn in culinary school? Probably a lot, right?
quite a bit,
Like you
I
learned
would
more
say.
experience.
There's a
than
lot. Yeah.
there, I
I
guess.
would lean more personally towards saying like you learn more on the job than like in a school setting for sure. You learn, yeah, definitely learned a good bit working just on the job. You learn how to get through an insane busy dinner rush. They don't teach you that really at
Right.
You can't
culinary
really teach
school.
that,
So
I can
would you
tell
say that like working teaches you more like life lesson sides and culinary school is more cooking, or do you think that you
Yeah.
learned a lot about cooking and working too?
Well, so like culinary school more than anything is just slower. Like
Yeah.
you learn how to make like maybe 4 or 5 different dishes a day, but you have like 3 hours to make 5 things
Right.
versus having to make
Yeah.
a lot
whole
more.
prep
Like,
list and,
10
a whole prep
minutes.
list before we open, please.
it's just so much more volume and speed and timelines and urgency required like in an actual kitchen restaurant environment
Right.
versus school. Yeah, you definitely learn so much more though from
I mean,
all that.
You can't really teach stress. Yeah.
Yeah,
at a
you can't
job, like
teach how to deal and manage
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And do you think
just
that you've gotten
time.
better with that over time? Like your stress, like
I would say so. Yeah, definitely had my fair share of like stressful and couple anger issues. I like to call
Yeah.
it getting hot in the kitchen, like because it'll literally be hot, like
Yeah.
you're standing in front of a grill or
yeah,
something.
there are times you're standing between two fires,
and then like people are yelling all around
And,
you,
like,
and
yeah.
Yep.
ticket machines just
No, the ticket machine noise is like
it's
a
traumatic.
beast. It's
I hear it.
You
in my
hear it in your
nightmares.
dreams.
I-
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
What
so
is like
bad.
your day to day? Like when you go into work, like what do you do to start the day? Like shift. Like what would you do basic shift?
Basic shift. Start of the day for my. Usually, I like to just kind of give everything a quick little walk over, like look over, just make sure everything. I have everything I need. There isn't just any like glaring obvious problems. Everything's turning on, stuff like that. And then I would say if there isn't a prep list already made, quick little prep list, and then you set up your station, so get a nice sharp knife, cutting board, all that fun stuff. You want to try to like manage your prep based on time, I would say. So I myself like to knock out kind of like I'll reverse order it. So the biggest, most time consuming stuff I'll try to get done, and then as it goes, busier you'll get with like say if I'm opening for lunch, I'll maybe have an hour and a half before I have to make lunch and orders. So once you're at that point, all you'll have left is like, for the most part, just the smaller, quick, easy prep.
Yeah.
And do you switch like stations each shift, or do you like have one that you prefer?
So at my job right now, we've only been open for about 2 weeks, so we've all kind of each just had a station. So I'm the prep and pantry guy. I have by far the most dead time at my job during service, so I like to call them prep god shifts because I'll just be peeling potatoes or cutting fries or other. My favorite's making empanadas at the moment.
That's tough.
That's a very fun
tough.
part of my day. That's like a good 2 hours every day.
And you sell empanada. Well, you guys.
We make we sell so many empanadas.
I feel like they're very
Cool.
trendy now. It's
They
like
are.
people like.
We sell vegetarian empanadas
Yeah.
that not all vegetarians like. It's not all vegetarians that order it. They're just delicious.
They're just
Hashtag
tough.
not all
So-
vegetarians.
Yeah.
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 But you said,
Vegetarians, I said that weird. I was gonna try to say like vegetarians like them and meat eaters.
yeah, I think I
But
got
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
we get.
They're just
You
delicious.
said prep/pantry, so I guess we should define what pantry means for people. Because do you guys
course,
even
yeah.
know what pantry refers to?
Not really.
I didn't think
Honestly,
about that.
probably not.
I didn't
When
think
we-
about that.
So in the kitchen, there are stations, and there's like you'll have saute, which is the range, which is like cooking stuff in saucepans and stuff. Your grill, you have your expo, and then you have your pantry, which is what you want to add one?
I was gonna say also expo could also be referred to as wheel.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, I was
I've
gonna
heard that
ask if you were. I heard that at a recent gig.
I've
Yeah.
not heard that one. That's an interesting
Yeah.
one. Wheel.
Wheel.
But the pantry is just kind of the catch-all for everything else. It's usually the cold stuff, like salads will be done at the pantry. Sometimes some restaurants will have a separate salad station, but pantry also tends to do desserts.
More just cold.
Yeah, it's just like cold.
All the cold stuff.
Anything
any
cold, the pantry
apps,
does.
potentially.
Yeah,
Like
appetizers,
Yeah.
and then like when we worked at Firebirds, the pantry was kind of laced
Also
with
had,
with the fry. So
Yeah.
like the fryer person was also the pantry person.
It's different everywhere. a
It's
little
different
bit,
everywhere,
but it could.
Mhm.
You kind of nailed it, I would say.
Yeah.
For the most part.
There's so yeah, that's what pantry means. Which I remember when I first got the job at Firebirds. That was my first like real kitchen job, and he said, "Yeah, we'll put you on pantry." And I was like, what? Like I know, but for me, a pantry means that's where like I grab my gushers, like,
Across the
what do you mean
plates, or are we
pantry?
like, oh, we actually mean like doing stuff. Yeah.
Pantries where all the snacks are.
Pantries were like, what?
So I'm doing snacks.
I'm doing snacks. Awesome.
You said
Cereal.
your place has been open for 2 weeks. That's all right.
So they had
Reopened.
renovated.
Renovate. So
reopened.
like,
I
was- how's it like coming back in? Like, it's like
kind of sad at the same. Having a month off work was
Yeah.
pretty great,
Yeah.
and a nice little pleasant surprise. At the same time, it's like you have to go back to work eventually.
Yeah.
Kind of start running out of money and stuff like that. It's definitely been busier, but it's been very good, I would say. They changed the menu, so all the food, all the new menu stuff is kind of cool and exciting.
you
Like
have to like relearn how like the whole menu basically, because like
Yeah, did
It
they
wa-
have you like do training shifts like to learn everything again before they actually opened?
so you would have.
You would have thought.
You would think that potentially we'd maybe get to like have a good bit of practice. We honestly prepped every single thing on the menu the whole day before we opened, and then so they kind of just squeezed that whole process into a day and a half. I didn't even get to like taste everything before we opened.
hope it's good.
But it's been good. Everything I've tried's been good over the course of like the past 2 weeks. I'd say I've tried just about everything.
That's good.
It's all been good.
That's the nice thing about working in the back of house too, is that like you get a lot of food. You can kind of eat whatever you want. Like, and
Must be nice.
yeah, it's I mean, you get some flack for it if you're being like flagrant and like
Yeah.
kind of like just like I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat that. Like there are the issues, but within reason. And a lot of places will let you take a meal for free. Some places will like tell you have to charge for it, but then like the chef is like, nah, eat it for free.
Yeah, you have to have an in with one of the chefs.
Yeah. And then there are places that don't have chefs, and it's like how
Don't
and
have chefs. Or
yeah, Miller's Ale House, no chef.
just like
It was just a quote kitchen manager.
Oh.
But I felt like there needed to be a captain of the ship. Like there was nobody leading the charge. Nobody was like taking responsibility. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what's nice about the chef usually is that they're like, this is my kitchen and like this represents my work.
yeah.
But
No.
there's
Yeah.
none of that at Miller's. So everything was just.
I guess
wow.
yeah. I guess place I worked, there's no like chef. It's just like a bunch of people that know how to cook.
Yeah, where I worked, so I've worked at a few. We've had like, the head chef and then that kind of stuff. And I worked at like it was the Fearless Restaurant Group. So they had people that were like the head chef for like that restaurant or like the head chef for like the restaurants in the area and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
of like
that's the-
hierarchy
yeah.
and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna take a break now, and after, I want to hear about Yellowstone, and then we'll talk about that. So let's take a break now, and then we'll come back in and hear about the greatness of the outdoors. And,
Yes. The wonderful
Montana.
outdoors.
Traveling.
Where is
Where,
it?
yeah, what state
Where, what
was it?
state is it?
I
It was Montana, right?
It's right in the corner where Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho.
I was correct.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah.
with me. I was correct. So,
Yeah, so
I
Kevin's
know.
pretty
Yeah,
smart.
It's
yeah,
literally
all those
Montana.
three.
I know what I'm talking about.
All right.
All
We'll be
right,
right back.
we'll see you
All right.
guys.
After the break.
Welcome back to the Server Alley podcast, and we are here with our guest Josh, who is friends with Lindsay, and he works in the restaurant industry. He works in the kitchen, and we are going to talk about how you worked at Yellowstone. So, what was that experience like? How did you get the job? Why did you do it? All the things. Give us the
For sure.
details.
So, yeah, not a problem. I knew I wanted to leave the job I was at here, and just looking on the internet one night, and I see an ad, and it's, do you want to live and work in Yellowstone this summer? I think to myself, you know what?
I think I do.
You know what? Like, that sounds kind of fun. Actually, I've never been there. It was still the furthest west I've ever been. So
Why not?
why not? I click on that.
How old were you?
Filled out. This was last summer. I was 22.
Nice.
So I fill out a quick little application, submit it. About a week later, heard back, got hired. The biggest jump is actually packing your car, I would say, and getting in and
Yeah.
telling
it's
yourself
like-
I have to drive the next
it's your Dixie Chicks moment. Wide
4
open
days.
spaces.
Like, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
All right. And then doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something though.
Did they provide housing?
Yes, for free.
Oh wow.
Yeah, nothing too fancy.
It was dorm style, right?
Yeah, like
Were there
very
a lot
college
of-
dormy.
People that were doing the same thing that you were doing, or
Hmm. Yeah, the big contractor I worked for, their employees literally range from 18 to 80. So
wow.
very.
What are the 80-year-olds doing?
You'd be surprised. Maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little
They
housekeeping.
want to see Yellowstone. Yeah, they've
Yes,
been there.
There were some
I'm in the
people.
prime of my life.
Yeah, let's go. Why
There
not?
were a couple older people that had been working there for it was their 35th summer and
Oh,
stuff
wow.
like that.
Wow.
Like, they've been doing that.
You gonna
for,
do it 35 times?
I don't know about 35. probably not that many. Yeah, they have a very good variety of jobs. Where I worked in the park was the lake area of Yellowstone, so there's kind of different attractions, I guess I'll call them, where they have different lodging and stuff all spread throughout the park. So different areas are kind of different demographics, price wise and
Who
all
goes
that
there?
stuff. Yeah. So where I was the finer dining, fancy hotel area.
Nice.
So they had all the jobs imaginable, hosts, bartending, for specific areas and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think my aunt actually did something very similar in
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
It's not a hard job to get, honestly.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, she did it after she retired, and she always wanted to live at, a national park and
It's
stuff.
definitely a
like that.
good experience. You don't get to just live in a
Yeah.
national park
Yeah.
on a regular
No.
basis.
It
seems
was
like
funny, though.
It seems so easy. You just submit the application. You're in. Let's
Yeah,
go.
it wasn't-
Yeah.
The work's not that glamorous. A
Yeah.
little bit soul sucking.
Yeah, I was gonna
but-
say, what were your hours like? What were your shifts like? How many days a
So
week were you working or supposed to work? Because I know
you-
you've said that you didn't. Show
You
up
will
all the
be
time.
working at least 5 days a week, if not more.
Mhm.
It depends on how well they're staffed. From what I had heard this summer, we opened for the season at about 60% of what they would want for staff, and they're not gonna change the
Yeah.
opening dates.
Right.
They're still gonna open.
Yellowstone's. Yep.
It's a whole
Yellowstone
national
doesn't
park. A
stop
lot of
for
people.
understaffing.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Hours would be if I was doing a morning shift, so that would be breakfast and not really lunch, but
You
just
served
breakfast.
breakfast?
So they had breakfast and dinner where I worked, not
No
lunch.
Interesting. Everybody's hiking at lunchtime.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
take a sandwich.
That was
They're
kind of
busy
their
at
thought.
lunch.
Yeah. So breakfast would be 5:30 in the morning
Ooh.
to noon, if not a bit later, and then dinner you're going in at 2 to about give or take maybe 11 or 12
Oh my
at
God.
night,
Yeah.
and so that at least 5 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah.
It's a long-
Usually,
it's a long
y-
shift.
yeah,
Good 10 hours, right? You get a break?
on a good day.
On a
It's
good
not
day,
a
yeah.
crazy
That's what it's like when you're working in an understaffed
shit show of a
place.
day.
Or just
Yeah.
working in a restaurant too,
Yeah.
working doubles and stuff like that. I did something similar. I worked at Jersey Shore for the summers. I'm going back again this summer, my 4th summer. Last one, sad. But yeah, I did something very similar where you just work there for the summer and stuff like that. And honestly, I bonded a lot with the people I was working with because they're my friends when I'm down there. Did you have the similar experience?
Absolutely, yeah. You make a lot of great friends. So it's like I said, free housing. Unless you're one of like a small handful of people, you're gonna have a roommate in your room with you. So that's kind of a best bud right there. If you hope you get a cool,
Hopefully.
yeah, that's how you hope
It's
you
like college.
kind of fingers crossed you don't get like some weirdo middle-aged man as your roommate. I bet because that could happen if
Good.
you're not lucky. And then yeah, you're literally living with the same people in like a college dorm for the entire summer. So everyone's got 2 days off. So there's enough people, like no matter what days off you have, there's a good solid group of people that are all looking for hikes and stuff to do that day.
You get to explore a lot and stuff like that.
A lot. I without even trying, ended up hiking over 100 miles out
Dang.
there.
Mhm.
There are countless, and there's still, and I didn't even do like a quarter of the hikes. There's so much out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's gotta be like, I don't know, like I'm used to working, like you mentioned the shifts, like that sounds awful, and like a lot of work and stuff, but and I feel like what pulls you in is like, oh, you get to work in this like environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, your days off though, you were waking up in a national park.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I drove out there, so if I would highly recommend if you ever go out there to bring a car, because
Right.
that's if you don't have a car, I don't know how you're gonna get
You're gonna
anywhere.
walk like
really.
1,000 miles instead of 100
Yeah, just
miles.
to
Right.
get to places.
You're gonna be hitchhiking.
Oh yeah, don't do that out there.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to
Don't
do that.
hitchhike, kids.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah,
yeah.
man, yeah. I don't know. I just can't. That's gotta be extremely hard, but also kind of rewarding.
I mean, because
Yeah.
it's like when you could have a job in Montgomeryville that's very hard, and you're waking up on your days off in Montgomeryville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same as like
Yeah, no.
having a hard job
Yeah.
in Yellowstone is kind of better than having a hard job.
Yeah.
here,
You think
so.
you'll ever go back there? Or?
So I'm gonna be working for a different company this summer, but I'm going out to more or less the same area. I'm gonna be like about 2 hours from where I was last summer, but
Dope. So-
for out
It's a
there,
big
it's not
park.
that far.
Yeah.
It's-
yeah,
there's a lot of.
it's-
Yeah, I'll be technically right outside the park, but more or less still
Yeah, like-
same area.
Yeah.
The mountains are still there. They're
Yeah,
not
a little-
like,
I mean,
So one thing I mentioned just real quick, when you're in the park, you're fully off the grid. Just about.
my
There's
God. Oh,
like
wow.
no phone
Yeah.
service or
Yeah.
Wi-Fi for the
Remember,
most
he would
part.
call me like at the randomest times, and he's like, "I have service. What's
No,
up?"
there's-
Let's talk. It's like it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, there's lots of like really tall mountains and stuff, and just the elevation. There's like one Verizon tower for the whole park.
Oh wow,
If you don't have Verizon,
it's another reason
it's
not to
pretty.
not to hitchhike there. You get murdered.
Wow.
Nobody's
Yeah,
tracking cell
yeah. There's
phones.
Wi-Fi. Unless you have like if you make friends with someone who has like a Starlink out
Oh
there,
yeah.
that's it. That's it.
This is like very Gen Z brain, but like besides like reading a book, like what would
What do you do?
I mean,
He works
besides,
a
like
lot.
hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was
That's-
working.
Working and
no.
hiking. He was being like a.
Hanging out with
Honestly,
friends.
hiking,
Yeah, I mean,
kayaks, boats.
Boats.
I mean, that's
Boat
I mean,
days.
that's definitely
I love
feels-
Boat
thing.
days,
Boat
great
day.
time.
Boat days and lake days. Yeah, those are fun
That makes
days.
you feel better when you can just go on a boat. I feel like kayak instead of staring at your phone probably for.
I personally it's like that first 2 weeks. You're kind of like you keep looking at your phone and just not doing anything.
Yeah,
'cause
like,
you're
it's
used to it.
fine.
But it's
Nice.
pretty nice, honestly, to just
I bet.
not have it feels just kind of everything feels slower, quieter.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Your phone's never
Must
going
be
off or
nice.
dinging.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we study
literally-
media.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
True.
what's on
Yeah.
Twitter right
Yeah,
now?
like-
Interesting. All right. Cool.
People
cool.
literally
know.
can't call and bother you. It's something.
So, you said you were on the fancier side of Yellowstone. What
Mm.
kind of what were you serving? What was the food?
So their menus changed, like per location and everything.
Yeah.
For like pretty much every season,
Yeah, like,
from
what
what
were
I
you-
understand. But so what I was doing this last summer, we had scallops
Scallops.
that were served over ratatouille with a
Oh,
smoked
wow.
tomato puree.
Oh, sorry.
Lord.
We had Redbird airline chicken breasts with mashed potatoes and
Is that airline?
cut. So it's like the cut of chicken.
Oh,
where
I'm
it's,
like, I'm like it's in like a tray, like you get on an airplane.
Have you ever?
Chicken
I was thinking that
airline.
too.
It's,
I'll be
that's
honest.
more.
Yeah, you just hold it to a chicken and it takes you where you need to go.
That's like more quick kitchen chef talk, I guess. It's like when you cut a chicken, so it's the breast and the wing attached to it, and that's it.
Oh.
That's an airline cut.
Dang, yeah,
Interesting.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then we had steak and halibut as well, and a kids menu, and like some salads and desserts and all that type of stuff.
Solid American
Yeah,
cuisine.
I
Was it
wa-
like produce like freshly? Was it sourced locally, or was it like how
Yeah,
nice was
You had to hunt.
the
Oh,
quality of the
everything.
stuff?
It's not as nice as you would want it to be.
Yeah.
That was a big thing I never really thought about before actually being out there. Just the logistics of getting
Actually getting the food to
fresh food
right.
to a national park
Mhm.
and like consistently was definitely a challenge. All of the like proteins and stuff pretty much were all frozen.
Yeah, that's pretty
Um,
general
which
in a lot
y-
of places.
Yeah. But they did actually, so this last summer at least, though, fresh halibut and scallops
Yeah.
all summer.
Where-
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder where they got the halibut from.
Believe Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know how it.
It's a fish.
Fish?
Yes.
No,
Kevin,
I
you
know.
don't know what halibut
Yeah,
is?
I don't know.
Kevin.
I gotta
Oh
be
my
honest. Yeah.
god.
A little bit embarrassing, but you know, I had to ask because I really didn't.
Do you
know.
not eat fish?
I do eat fish, like cod, salmon, scallops. But yeah, I guess I'm just like
It's not halibut.
obviously
It's
not
not
halibut.
halibut.
Yeah, but,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I
Yeah.
think there was like a
Well, I don't work in the Jersey Shore where it's like
yeah.
Yeah.
We had so much halibut. Like a lot of the specials we had was like a halibut special.
Yeah,
There's a
halibut
lot.
sounds like halibut to me so much.
Yeah.
We had a halibut
Man,
special.
Guess I
No, it
missed
was
out
just
my whole
all
life.
halibut specials. And it's just like they did different stuff to it a lot of the time. I was like, okay. Just I'm like it's
You just
halibut.
gotta
again?
dress it up. Yeah.
No, we were never
Come on,
allowed to
Mom.
order
We're
it.
eating halibut again.
It
Yeah.
was like $45 for a halibut dish.
Wow.
And we were never allowed to order it like as like our double meal.
Yeah, there's some restaurants are like, no, you can't have the fancy stuff.
No.
Oh, yeah,
Not
so-
giving you a lobster
Get the
tail.
chicken nuggets.
So
You
working
do.
in the restaurant industry, how is it working with other people, like different areas of the restaurant? Like how's it working with like the servers or like the food runners and that kind of stuff?
I enjoy it for the most part. You know, different jobs in the kitchen and restaurant will have like different types of people working, which I always think it always kind of makes this just great amalgamation of different people that are all kind of stuck in the same boat for 8 or 10 hours a day. I usually really enjoy talking with everyone I can at work. I hate the stereotype of like chefs yelling at everybody and being all.
So
Like-
it's not you don't
Yeah.
scream at everyone
I-
all the time.
I am trying to break that stereotype.
good, yeah.
I-
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a man against
We
the world.
appreciate that. One of the chefs that I've worked with, like, he had some anger issues, but he's good now. He's not that bad anymore.
Yeah.
He threw
got
a
on
plate.
something.
It's okay, whatever.
Yeah. I've seen my fair share of some thrown plates and
Mm-hmm.
pots and pans. It's definitely lots of chefs with anger issues.
Well, it's a very
There's-
stressful job,
It
It
is
is.
a
And
very
it's very
stressful
demanding.
job. Yeah.
and people ask a lot of you because, like, you know, sometimes like the customers they want to have like special things that aren't on the menu.
Yeah.
I had someone that wanted us to cut up some vegetables and give her like some ranch for her kid. I'm like, that's not on the menu. And she's like, well, we want to order it. I'm like, we don't have
Have
that. And I had to go and ask one of the chefs to do it for me. And he made it look really nice. It was very nice.
Yeah. It's,
I-
if you get a chef in a good mood, they'll be like, yeah, and then they
Oh, yeah.
make some like beautiful display for you, and they're like, it's no big deal.
But if you're busy and you ask for that, like if
Yeah.
we were busy, I would have said absolutely not. Like we're not. Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
But we weren't.
Well, like
that
you
bad.
kind of notice that when like you go to a restaurant and it's busy, like going to eat at a restaurant, you've been there, so like you kind of like don't want to ask too much of someone because it's like
You know what they're going
you know what
through.
it's like. It's like, do you ever like feel like that when you go out to a restaurant or?
Working in the restaurant industry for as long as I have has kind of ruined going out to eat a little bit for the rest of my life. I feel like I have
Forever.
to, like, yeah, just forever. I definitely don't eat out as much anymore, I will say. And whenever I do, I never, like, now I know, like, all right, never ask for anything changed. And I definitely always try to, like, unless I have a server I think is rude, I always try to tip generous, like over
We
20%
appreciate that.
even.
That's how we make our money. We
yeah.
don't like literally.
Yeah.
The hourly is like $2.
Yeah,
So
it's insane. I don't know how that can be legal.
I've heard so many
Well, 'cause
horror
you make so much
stories
money in
from
tips.
Yeah, but it's
I've made like $1,000.
America.
but
in
it's
tips
just
one
it's
night.
just America, man.
Yeah.
It's like maybe if we paid our workers, we wouldn't have to pay them with tips.
Exactly.
It's a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like we're the one country that's doing that still,
Yeah.
too.
No.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, because a lot of countries like they just add the gratuity in there already,
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
like
it's
their
a check.
servers make minimum wage. And
Yeah,
that
they
kind of stuff.
get
and then
paid
you
a
get
certain-
extra. Like
Right.
then you get the tip.
Because that's
too.
what a tip should be. Is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a tip. Like it's extra.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like your entire salary.
Right. But,
Yeah.
but and that's what it's become.
Yeah.
But are you more forgiving when it comes to like if there's a problem with your food? Do you say anything?
I myself am really not a picky eater at
Yeah.
all, and I'm just kind of eating for the sake of I'm hungry and
It's-
want and need to feel like and need sustenance to
Yes.
keep going in the day. Just for example's sake, I was at a sandwich shop one time here, and I got the wrong sandwich, and I didn't even say
Yeah.
anything. I
Did
just
bat
said,
an eye.
"Well, I guess I'm having this for
Yeah.
lunch
This
today."
is
I
my
don't know
new
if I
sandwich.
could
I
get
get
like
nervous to say
I could never say anything. I could be
Yeah.
like at Burger King. I'd be like, well, suck for me.
Supposed to
I'm not
have
going
your
back.
own.
Like, what am I gonna
Yeah.
do? Like, I don't know. I
guess
just
I'm
can't.
having it Burger King's way.
Yeah.
I wanted a turkey sub, but
But
I
you know
guess
what?
I'm
That
going
sounds good to
Italian
me.
today.
Yeah.
More of an Italian
Yeah,
egg.
No, I
alright.
feel like that. I don't know. I get, every time I'm with someone or something, and they're like trying like upset. I'm like, I just get like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's like one person in the kitchen right now. It's
Yeah.
it's probably pretty tough.
Do you
so.
find yourself like looking into the kitchen when they have like an open kitchen? Do you find yourself like, what's going on in there? Like, trying
Absolutely, yeah.
to figure out how their flow
Like,
works.
am I weird?
Yeah.
Am I the one only doing that? They're like, oh, everyone else doing that.
I do that all the time. If there's an
Yeah.
open kitchen, I'm like, oh, and now
Yeah.
he's picking
Even-
up
I
the
look in the
fries.
server alley.
Even I would say even if the kitchen isn't open, I look for that door.
Mhm.
Anytime
Yeah.
that door opens, I'm like,
Mhm.
what's going? Who's
going
who's
on
back
back
there?
there?
How's it? Is
Yeah.
anything on fire?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
Are people yelling?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because they can get feisty in the kitchen.
Can get
Can get
loud.
feisty
Because
real
honestly, that's
quick.
where like you can really like let go. At least as a server, like I've like in the alleyway, like out, like when you're near the customers, like you can't like talk shit about
Yeah.
them.
You can't be
you
too.
you can talk shit about them in the kitchen,
Mhm.
Right.
like get it off your chest and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, and then you have to go back out there and serve them. But
yeah.
what
Not
was
that.
the worst shift you've ever had? Like what was
Oh.
like?
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
go ahead. Worst shift.
That's
Ah,
Or
that's a
the
good
two.
question.
Where like you literally like went home and was like, thank God I'm going home, or like you went home pissed.
There was one day at the steakhouse me and Linz worked at. I'm pretty sure in that morning, it just been in like a super long day. And then by the end of that, I'm like still there to close. I think I was like working the saute or something that night. And over the course of the night, like I think one person had called out for maybe expo or something that
Got all
night.
of the
And then
call-outs.
the pantry person left early because they weren't feeling good.
Oh.
So I ended up closing. So at least at this place, that's like 3 of the 5 stations or
Mhm.
something. So I ended up closing all 3 of those, and I'm just
Yeah.
there for like for like a solid 13 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
the movie 13 Hours was about your shift. I feel like. Benghazi. It was. about
It
your
wasn't that bad, but I think that's maybe a bit of an exaggeration. But just lots of long days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of busy shifts. I feel like I've seen some people freak out and kind of fold under the pressure a bit. And
Yeah.
it sucks, but it's
Like there's.
You just
Do you
feel
remember
bad.
the one girl who walked out and said, "Have a nice life"? She was on pantry. She was working on pantry, and she just walked out. She was like done with her. She was not gonna work here anymore.
yeah,
and
I
she
do.
said,
Now that
she
yeah.
turned to the chef and she said, "Have a nice life," and she walked out the door.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
If you're
But
gonna go
people,
Yeah.
that happens a lot. People just
No,
are
the
like, "I'm done.
drama.
I'm
Screw
gonna
it.
walk
Yep.
away." It's
I don't
there's
need
so
this.
much
I'm
drama.
out.
Uh-huh. And
then just
when
storm
people,
off.
when the chef gets real angry and you gotta get the hell out of my kitchen. Like,
Oh, those are the
"Woo!"
best. Oh my god.
Everybody's
Those-
applauding.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's- Well, I guess we'll wrap up. But you said you have.
I do. I have
another
a
Yelp review.
Yelp
Yeah.
review. This
boy.
is from Firebirds, where Josh and I worked. This person did not have a great time. Gave it 4 stars, but let's see what they
4
said.
stars.
They said, While waiting to get into a poor vestibule with lame second-rate music, I noticed that a couple before us left early. We were asked if we had a reservation, so we got to wait for long minutes. No AC, so the place felt like the third level of hell. LOL.
Oh.
The session was saved by the food and the pleasant and professional service of Mary Cat.
Wow. I mean, like, you know, it really came around. You were thinking like 1 star there for
Right.
a good time, but it's 4 stars.
Food was good. Food was good.
Food was
Yeah.
good. I mean, that's all that matters. You know?
It just
you can work-
shows that
just shows
first
that.
impressions matter.
Yep.
It didn't like the vestibule, second-rate music.
But the
Like,
food can save
honestly-
everything.
Third level of hell, LOL.
Third level of hell. Like, that's
Honestly, try working in that restaurant because you probably have the same playlist going on in that.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's
music,
the
yeah.
same
Every
20
freaking
songs
day.
over and over and over again.
And you can tell if you heard it at 8:30 a.m., you're going to hear it again at about 2 p.m.
Yeah, or sometimes sooner because that playlist gets short.
It
It's
gets
all-
shorter
and
and
then
shorter.
no AC.
Yep.
Try being one of
Try
the
being-
servers.
try
Try
being
being
a
in the
server.
kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, but like that just shows you, like you can have the worst experience, but if you make a good meal, you
And
see
the,
that
and the
person's
service
day.
is good.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know
It
what?
brings it together.
That's all
Yeah.
it is.
So
Yeah.
I think that should conclude us.
I think that wraps us up for today.
Well, thank you for coming on. I mean, our
Yes,
first
thank
guest.
you.
Yes,
Yeah,
first
thanks
guest.
for having
Thank
me.
you,
Great.
Josh.
It's
Very
been a
fun.
pleasure. Yeah.
It was just very fun to do this. So
Mhm.
next time we will see you guys very soon in the Server Alley, as we like to call our podcast, and check us out on all the places you get your podcasts and our social media
Social
Follow
pages.
media.
us on
follow
social
us on
media,
social media.
subscribe on YouTube.
Yep.
Ring
At
the
the
bell.
server alley.
Yep, and we will see you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.